as well as written training materials. We generally have 3 streams of training that go on in our partner support program, and those 3 streams are sales training, so specifically to answer your question, product training, and then just an overall technology/support training stream. Each of those streams is designed for different parts of your business. Your sales and marketing department would obviously go to the sales training. Your support people would go to the technology and support training, and probably everybody would go to the overall product training just once. Coupled with that, there's then extensive sales and marketing resources in the Partner Resource Center, everything from sales templates through to a full-on sales guide, that ebook I mentioned earlier. So there's really a wonderful depth of resources available for your sales and marketing folk to leverage as they roll out their sales and marketing plans specific for your business. Hope that answers your question, Michael. Larry asks, I cater to lots of residential customers. What will the typical home user be expecting to pay for 250 gigs of backup space? Will it be a fixed cost that increases if the user exceeds allocated space? Well, firstly, Larry, home users are not expecting 250 gigs. In fact, most home users' usage is under 20 gigs, so like a tenth of what you're describing there. You'll be surprised at how little data actually most people will need to back up. So that would be my first comment. Secondly, 250 gigs is far more commonly a small business or a small office, home office type of allocation. But with residential customers in particular, it's not about the number of gigs. It's about their overall price point sensitivity. So depending on which sector of the home user market you're talking about, $49.95 is a good price point. $79.95 is a good price point. $99.95 is a good price point. Figuring out what you bundle and push into that is where you work with our partner delivery team to get the right SKUs that work for your particular market. It's also heavily influenced by what you're selling it alongside. Are you selling it standalone, or are you bundling this with, for example, phone equipment, right? All of which has great impact on your total revenue that you can earn from that particular market. Hope that is helpful, Larry. Interestingly, we've still got a lot of people on the line who are listening and are very attentive based on what GoToWebinar tells me, but aren't asking any questions. So perhaps that means I've answered them all, but I can't believe that. Please ask questions if you're still on the line. It certainly makes these Q&A sections a lot more valuable for everybody. All right, well, I'll ask a question to the group. What is stopping you from getting involved in online backup today? So what is the most pressing question, or what is your doubt that's causing you to not get into online backup yet? For example, are you still just evaluating the business opportunity? Are you in the process of comparing technology suppliers? Are you worried about price? Are you worried about rollout? Is it just that you haven't got around to it? And from that, oftentimes what we get is a very valuable discussion that's useful for everybody on the line about the steps that need to be taken from where you are today to being successfully selling online backup. Stephen says, a bit worried about starting from a dead stop. So Stephen, that's an easy one to solve. When you call in and register for the Kindle, ask them about a mock-up. So what a mock-up is where our art team actually goes ahead and prepares a whole bunch of marketing material for you, free of charge, that lets you go and start positioning this with your customers. So a flyer for you to hand out, some emails that you can roll out to actually build a sales pipeline. The beauty of doing that is you then sign with us and you've got a product in a few weeks, and by then you've actually got sales-ready customers that you can sign almost immediately. So I think that is that's an imminently solvable one. Larry says, well, I need to purchase the initial software and deployment tools. Larry, depends on the type of partner you become. So there's different partnership offerings, like I said earlier, and there's some that have no cost associated with them, but usually yield to a much lower percentage of revenue being yours, and there are others where you would have to purchase some tools, but you get a lot more of the revenue that gets produced. So we've got a program that sort of fits all needs, and so that's where you should talk to the partner specialist. Julius, I'm sorry, says, how is price calculated? By total occupied space or transferred gigabytes? Neither, Julius. It's very simple. It's based on provisioned accounts. So if you provision an account in your cloud, so you get a little section of the SOS cloud, if you provision an account in that cloud, then you've consumed it. So there's no complicated analysis of compression or transfer. It's just what you see is what you get. Sarah says, security of the cloud. Amazon raises the issue of redundancy by the provider of the cloud. Sure, Sarah, but there's two issues there. One's security and one's uptime and availability. From an uptime and availability standpoint, I can tell you we've never had a system outage as a company. So we've been around 10 years and never had a system outage. We've got 11 data centers around the world, and we're always we replicate your data to multiple data centers. So that's never been an issue with us. From a security standpoint, also, we've got military-grade encryption built into the system. So the data is encrypted first on a sandbox on the customer's PC, then transferred over an encrypted connection, and then re-encrypted before it's stored on our back end. So you've got 3 different layers of security. It's highly secure. Again, the S3 service is not encrypted at all. That's left to different application vendors to do. So inherently, there's far less security baked into the Amazon cloud. Yeah, so generally, I don't think the concerns that Amazon's got really apply to us because we're built with security and scalability in from the ground up. One of the challenges Amazon has is because it's just a generic storage service, they've had to build a cloud platform that can serve 1,000 different purposes, whereas ours is built with just one purpose in mind, and that is very secure, radically scalable online backup. I hope that answers your question, Sarah. Thomas says, rollout, branding, understanding pricing. So Thomas, rollout takes a couple of weeks. Branding is usually done very quickly. We can actually start branding stuff now. As I said, we can do a mock-up for you. Understanding pricing, that's something you would talk to the partner specialist about in the context of doing an ROI model. So that's where, do you know, Thomas, if you have a partner specialist already? So Thomas, feel free to let me know if you're already working with somebody, but generally what the partner specialist will do is walk you through, okay, not that you know of, okay, call in, there will be somebody already assigned to your name if you've registered for the webinar, so call in, and what they'll do is they can walk you through in detail the rollout and branding elements, and on the understanding pricing, the pricing you use really will vary based upon the market you're selling to. Earlier on here I see that you wrote you're selling to small business and to consumers. Well, that's right in our wheelhouse. So you can pretty readily just copy our recommendations for pricing and positioning in both of those markets and be successful out of the gate. Okay, Larry wrote, if I go with the higher end program, do I need a server system to run deployment tools, or will this function on any PC? Larry, they're all cloud-based applications, so you're going to be running, you can run them from any PC. That's not going to be a problem. Michael wrote, how does SOS compare with iDrive/iBackup features and cost, our current vendor? Michael, we've got more features and we're at a lower price is the high-level remark. But of course, it depends how you do the analysis. If you took a 5-user environment, okay, let me put it this way. Recently, PC Magazine looked at what it would cost to back up 50 gigs of data on 5 PCs, and we came out as the best solution by a long way, including being better priced than iDrive and iBackup. Similarly, on the partnership program front, their partnership program is pretty anemic. So if you're looking to be a partner of ours, then we can provide you with a very low supply cost. So I think your profit with us would be much higher. Hope that answers the question. Gil says, when you say you replicate data to multiple data centers, are the data center local to the region, or could US data end up in a Canadian data center and vice versa? Gil, we'd never cross country borders like that. So if you're in Canada, it's going to stay in Canada. If you're in the USA, it's going to stay in the USA, unless you explicitly provided otherwise, and that would be written into your contract with us. So sometimes you have Americans who don't want data stored in America. That's pretty rare, but it has happened, and we can accommodate that. All right, we've run dry on questions. Got a few more minutes, so I'm happy to take any more questions on any topic. Ira Perlo has her hand raised in the software. Ira, you can just go ahead and ask your question if you'd like. How many customers do we have? It's a good question. We've got we have 1,000 partners, and those partners represent millions of users. So because because our distribution structure is two-tiered, the most important metric is that we have 1,000 partners around the world. Okay, great. Ira doesn't actually have a question. Sorry to call you out like that, Ira. I just thought the hand raised indicated you had something to ask. Julius writes, what is the typical sales model for small company? Now they have around 20 gigs of data. Julius, what we recommend and what we really try and coach our partners to do is not sell this based on the amount of data. And the reason is businesses will happily pay a few $100s a month for this service for full data protection, for you to come in, do a risk audit, analyze the amount of data they have on all their machines, deploy the software, then use our monitoring and management tools to constantly control that software and provide them with reports. That is an extremely valuable service that you can provide to your business customers. And they will very happily pay a couple of $1,000s a year or several $100s a month for that totality of bundled services, because there's nobody in the market who can do all of those things. They can go to Mozy and they can buy a software product, but they're not going to get the total business protection that you can provide as their consultant, and particularly around actually doing that data assessment, looking at the disaster recovery procedures, writing and formalizing a disaster recovery plan for them, which you can just use our templates for. All of those things are very, very important for businesses. So all of that is to say, we do not recommend you approach that opportunity as a 20 gigabyte opportunity. Approach, how many employees does this company have? What we coach our partners to do is have a 1 to 5 employee bundle, a 5 to 10 employee bundle, a 10 to 20 employee bundle, and sell it like that with standardized pricing. What you'll then find is when you, across the spread of customers that you sign, you'll make a lot more profit that way than you will if you actually try and piecemeal it out on a per gig basis. Hope that helps, Julius. And our partner team will talk in detail to you about that. I mean, they're really expert on the way to successfully position this. Stephen writes, if we were a basis partner, no branding, can we use your support service? How does that support work? Absolutely, Stephen. That's one of the great things about co-branding with SOS or just using the SOS brand is you can just point people at our support portal. There's a knowledge base with a few hundred articles in there for self-service support. There's ticket-based support with a very streamlined troubleshooting procedure that goes through and analyzes your problem. There's live chat support that's available 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And then for level 2 and level 3 escalations, there's phone support available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay, well, we're running out of time. I hope today's presentation's been useful. Thanks for participating. If there are any other questions, I'll answer them in the next minute or so, but do remember to call in for the Kindle. Again, that Kindle promotion code is KDX9064. All right, well, thank you very much for your time and have a wonderful day.